Okay, so I want to pick up on something that we were talking about in season 7, episode 2 of Fire Away. And my frustration here is employers who confuse the eligibility for disability benefits with the ability to work. So we see this all the time where employers get into trouble because they assume that just because an employee has been denied disability benefits, that means they've been cleared to return to work, and they have to. And we see this either when the initial application for benefits is made, if it's turned down, or more often, what happens is that the employee is on disability benefits and then they hit the 2 year mark. And as most viewers will know, at 2 years, eligibility usually changes so that it's not only that you can't do your own occupation, it's that you can't perform any occupation. And at that point, a lot of people all of a sudden lose their benefits. And the employer is notified that the employee is no longer eligible for benefits. And they send out a letter or an email to the employee saying, we understand that you've been cleared to return to work. And if you're not at work next week, then we're going to assume you've abandoned your job, which is completely wrong and incredibly risky. I think it's important to remember that there are lots of reasons why an employee might not get benefits that have nothing to do with their ability to return to their previous job. So, as an employer, the question you've got to answer is whether the employee is able to work or not whether they qualify for benefits. They may remain on an unpaid leave, but they still are entitled to remain off work. So leave of absence is just like any other form of accommodation. And as we've said before, employers need to manage any requests for accommodation properly. They need to get proper documentation on the limits of someone's ability to do their job, not diagnosis or anything else. Don't rely upon the insurer because this is not their job. And then once you get the documents, you can assess whether there is a legitimate need for accommodation. If so, whether there are options available to accommodate, or if the contract has been frustrated. Maybe the evidence shows that there's no reasonable likelihood they're going to return to work in their foreseeable future. And if so, you can say the contract's been frustrated. But one way or the other, you've got to take this on personally. You can't leave it to the insurer, get the documentation, and then assess whether the employee is able to return to work or not, which again has nothing to do with whether they qualify for disability benefits. So it gets back to what we always say, don't make assumptions, get proper legal advice before you act, and certainly before you do something like failing to accommodate a disability. As we always say, if you think you might need an employment lawyer, you probably do.